Mr. Speaker, before the Prime Minister and I became MPs, parties of every colour increased the cost of going to university. The system is now at breaking point for graduates. I believe the student loans have become a debt trap. It is time for all of us to do something about it. Will he cut interest rates on student loans?
The chamber froze for a split second. Then the noise exploded. Gasps, laughter, angry shouts bouncing off centuries-old wood. And standing calmly at the dispatch box was Kemi Badenoch, delivering a line that would echo across British politics within minutes. "Mr. Speaker," she said quietly, the end of the Prime Minister's answer was different from the beginning. A pause followed. Before we roll into the video, just one thing. If you enjoy our work, drop a like and hit subscribe. Over 98% of you are watching without subscribing. Let's change that right now. It's free for you, but it fuels everything we do. Subscribed?
Mr.
Perfect.
Speaker,
Now enjoy the video.
I have to say I was glad to learn that the Leader of the Opposition has finally admitted that they scammed the country on this. And that applies to everything they did in government. We inherited their broken student loans system. We've already introduced maintenance grants to improve the situation, which they scrapped. And we will look at ways to make it fairer. And we will do other things within the economy to help students. What other things they say? The news this morning, Mr. Speaker, 7 a.m, energy bills coming down by £117 for millions of families and young people struggling. That's guaranteed money off bills in April, driven by the action that this Labour government has taken. We promised to cut the cost of living. We are cutting the cost of living.
Mr. Speaker, I asked him if he would cut interest rates on student loans. No answer. And for the record, energy bills are still higher than when he came into office. He keeps talking about the last government. In case he hasn't noticed, my party is under new leadership. A lot of people wish his was too, including the backbenchers sitting behind him. But let's talk again about student loans and student fees even, because to win the Labour leadership, yes, with Labour together, the Prime Minister promised to abolish tuition fees. In opposition, the Education Secretary said, graduates, you will pay less under a Labour government. I wonder what happened to those people. But can the Prime Minister tell us whether graduates are paying more or less under Labour?
Prime Minister. Certainly many in her party are under new leadership, Mr. Speaker. They're up there. The only change she's brought to her party is to make it smaller. And she talks about interest rates on loans. Mr. Speaker, not only have energy prices come down this morning, but since we were last here across the dispatch box, inflation has fallen as well, which has a huge impact on interest rates. Fallen to 3%. And the Bank of England say it's going to keep on falling. That's only happening because of the decisions that we made at the budget, opposed by the party opposite. They talk about the cost of living. This government is taking action, and under their watch, inflation was 11%, which crippled the state of finances for students as their loan rates went up.
Mr. Speaker, I am amazed that while we're trying to talk about student loans, the Prime Minister has the cheek to talk about my party being smaller. His party is smaller too, including one MP who was arrested for child sex offences. So perhaps before he gets on his high horse, he should ask why his backbenchers are saying that they're being called the Pedo Defenders Party. Yes. So why don't we get back? So if he... Yes, I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I know it makes them...
Yes. Sorry. OK, let's have less. Kemi Badenoch.
I know they don't like it, Mr. Speaker.
Does the honourable member want to leave at this stage? Just understand, I want to hear the question, because it's very important that I do hear, because I'm may have to make a judgment. So I don't need any more shouting.
I know they don't like it, Mr. Speaker, but I haven't said anything that's not true, have I? So perhaps, yes, they should get off their high horse, stop making stupid jokes, and why don't we talk about student loans? Yes. Policies that may have been fine for 2012 with low interest rates are not fine for 2026. The fact is, graduates are paying more, not less. On Monday, the schools minister was asked on the BBC why Labour froze the repayment thresholds. She said the government has, and I quote, huge pressures. Those pressures have been created by his taxes and his borrowing to pay for more welfare. Why is the Prime Minister taking from students to give to Benefit Street?
What a nerve. Under their government, student loan thresholds were frozen for 10 years. 10 years. They broke the system. They did it with a bloke over there when they were in coalition together, and we're fixing it. Now, she used to say just a few weeks ago that she was going to focus on the economy at the exclusion of everything else. So I'm doing her a favour by bringing it back to the economy, because 117, desperate to talk about the economy, £117 off energy bills, inflation going down. The other thing that was confirmed on Friday, Mr. Speaker, borrowing is coming down, the biggest surplus on record. That means we've got the economy back under control. We're fixing the public finances. Now, I know the party of Liz Truss don't understand any of this, but she should welcome those changes when she next stands up.
Mr. Speaker, he says they're fixing the student loan system. How? He wasn't even talking about this until I raised it. The fact is, those policies...
And it goes for the row as well. Chair Select Committee expects a standard, not to shout somebody down. Kemi Badenoch.
Mr. Speaker...
I don't need any back chat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. He's only talking about student loans now because I raised it. He says they're fixing the problem. The fact is, he's not. Why is it that I'm willing to ditch old Conservative policies that don't work and he wants to keep them? He's not going to do anything about it at all. On Monday, they voted to increase benefits yet again. The fact is, he is taking money out of the pockets of graduates and giving it to people who are not working. It is not fair. It is not just that he is saddling graduates with debt. It's not just that he is saddling graduates with debt. Yesterday, the Bank of England, yes, where she used to work in customer services. Yesterday, the Bank of England... Yesterday, Mr. Speaker, the Bank of England said that his policies are fueling youth unemployment. That's not us, that's the Bank of England. For the first time ever, youth unemployment is now higher here than it is in the EU. And while he blames everyone else, our young people can't get jobs, they are losing hope and even leaving the country. Will the Prime Minister tell us how he plans to deal with it?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, she says she's ditching failed Tory policies. It's a very long list. 14 years of list. And it starts with the word sorry. And when she says that word, we'll take her seriously. And Mr. Speaker, she talks about the Bank of England. The Bank of England have reduced interest rates 6 times. We've seen the fall in energy bills. Inflation is coming down. Borrowing is coming down. She hasn't welcomed any of that. I know she wanted to talk about the economy. She wants to talk anything other than the economy. Perhaps she'll welcome the surge in retail sales as well. People are spending more on our high streets because of the action that we took. Wages boosted for millions of workers, opposed by the party opposite. Free breakfast clubs, opposed by the party opposite. Free childcare, opposed by the party opposite. Every measure we're taking to improve the economy, what do? They oppose it.
Mr. Speaker, he is desperate to talk about the last government so that he can distract from the mess that he is making now. The fact is, he is the Prime Minister today. This is a man who got legislation in to fix his own pension, just him, no one else's. He wouldn't sort out student loans for other people. He has no plan to get young people into work. He has no plan to help graduates get out of the debt trap. They can complain as much as they like. These are facts. 411 MPs, and not a single one of them has any imagination. We are the ones doing all the thinking. Yes, he has already... Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has already made 15 U-turns. Will he make another one next week at the Spring Statement to fix the student loans system?
She wants me to talk about this government. Bills down under this government, £117. Inflation down under this government. Surplus up, record. Resales down. She won't welcome the economic news, but the business community is welcoming the plan. Business confidence is up. The FTSE is at a record high. The President of the British Chamber of Commerce has said this is the year our economy can turn around. Her miserable strategy of talking down the economy isn't working because Labour's got a plan for Britain.
Kemi Badenoch.
Mr. Speaker, it'll only turn around this year if he stops being the leader. Perhaps they can do something about that. He wants us to welcome economic news. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to welcome the fact that youth unemployment is at its highest ever. I am not going to welcome the fact that unemployment has increased every single month under this Labour government. He is not doing anything about student loans because he is not governing. And he is not governing because he cannot govern. He is distracted by Labour scandal after Labour scandal. Mr. Speaker, even today now, there is an inquiry into the Inquiries Minister. That is all that they have offered since they came in. The defining moment of this man's premiership will not be breakfast clubs. It will be the sight of the man he appointed as ambassador to Washington just last year getting arrested. No wonder they're calling themselves all sorts of things. He needs to stop moaning about us and start fixing his useless government. Why should the country have to put up with 3 more years of this?
Yet again, she's shown why she is so utterly irrelevant. Harping from the sidelines, trying to talk down the economy.
Hello? Please, I want to hear the question, so do your constituents. Prime Minister.
All she does is carp from the sidelines, talk the economy down, talk the country down. In the meantime, because of our work, what is happening? Energy bills down, as announced this morning. Inflation down. Borrowing down. And what's up? Retail spending is up. Investment is up. Business confidence is up. That's the difference a Labour government makes.
Mid-page, a cold shock rippled through the benches. Even the Speaker shifted uneasily, sensing the storm about to break. Farage lifted a slim manila folder marked confidential. The label alone stole the air from the chamber. Then he said it. You personally blocked deportation flights to protect your approval ratings with activists. The attack was brutal, instant, surgical. Starmer's face turned a shade of pale that didn't belong under the bright Westminster lights. Angela Rayner gasped loudly enough for the microphones to catch it. No one breathed. The chamber locked into a silent, dreadful anticipation. Farage wasn't making an accusation. He was springing a trap months in the making. Intelligence sources would later reveal that he'd been gathering everything since September, carving through layers of secrecy, working with whistleblowers buried deep in the Home Office. These weren't political operatives. These were lifers, civil servants who'd served 5 prime ministers and survived a decade of chaos. They weren't motivated by ambition. They were moved by conscience. And that made their testimony deadly. At 2:47 p.m, the detonator clicked. Farage pulled the first document like a magician unveiling a forbidden spell. A Home Office memo dated November 15th, he declared, raising the sheet high. Your signature, Prime Minister. Your decision. Your betrayal. He read the numbers like a prosecutor reading a charge sheet. 3 cancelled deportation flights. 347 individuals. £4.2 million burned in preparation costs. The chamber erupted. Starmer tried to speak, but his voice cracked. The honourable member, but Farage cut him down mid-syllable. Misrepresenting? Let me read your exact words. The silence was terrifying. You could feel the emotional gravity collapsing in the room. Even hardened reporters in the gallery leaned in, wide-eyed, stunned into immobility. Farage lifted a phone and read from an encrypted WhatsApp exchange. The message was devastating. Kill the Rwanda flights. I don't care about optics. Our base will revolt if we deport anyone before May. Gasps rippled across Labour's front bench. Rachel Reeves buried her face in her hands. David Lammy stood up and walked out like a man fleeing fire. The Speaker tried to intervene, but the chamber had slipped into freefall. Farage wasn't finished. He never is. He reached into the folder again and produced photographs, stacks of them, faces, names, files. "These," he said, "are the individuals whose deportations the Prime Minister personally blocked. The numbers hit with sledgehammer force: 73 with criminal convictions, 12 for violent assault, 4 for sexual offences, 1 for attempted murder." The Labour benches convulsed. Shouts of "shame" and "resign" thundered from MPs who had supported Starmer just hours earlier. But what cameras didn't catch were the tears. 3 senior Labour MPs openly crying, veterans of 40 years in the Commons reduced to fragile disbelief. Margaret Hodges whispered to a colleague, unaware her words would leak minutes later. "This is worse than Iraq." Blair believed he was right. Keir knew this was wrong. Outside Westminster, the storm was spreading. Tabloids detonated instant push alerts. Social media exploded with fury. But nothing stung the public more than the contrast Farage laid bare next. The stories of veterans broken, cold, abandoned while the state poured billions into hotel rooms, translators, legal aid, and endless luxury for illegal arrivals. Farage described the case of Corporal James Morrison, who lost a leg in Helmand and now slept beneath a bridge in Birmingham, surviving on £823 a month. The same week, migrants in the Hilton Westminster received £2,100 in support, heated rooms, Egyptian cotton sheets, 3 meals a day. "This is not compassion," Farage thundered. "This is a betrayal of the British people." Polls later showed this moment alone shifted public opinion by 9 points. Then came the twist no one expected. The recording. Farage pulled out his phone at precisely 3:02 p.m. He had rehearsed the timing with the precision of a general launching a strike. "This," he said, "was recorded at Chequers last Sunday." Starmer's head jerked up. Panic flashed across his face. The audio played through the chamber like a confession dragged from a locked vault. Starmer's voice. Calm. Calculated. Chilling. "We need to hide the real figures until after May. Tell the press anything, but keep the numbers buried." Then came the advisor's voice, Morgan Mulvaney, muttering a number so staggering it stunned even Farage's critics. 800,000. "If that gets out," Mulvaney said, "we're finished." Starmer's reply sealed his fate. "Then make sure it doesn't. Use notices if necessary." The Speaker demanded Farage stop the recording. But the damage had carved itself into history. For the next 30 seconds, no one spoke. Not an MP. Not a journalist. Not even the Speaker. The silence was not political. It was existential. But Farage had saved his nuclear strike for the finale. "Mr. Speaker," he said, lowering his voice, "I have one final piece of evidence. A security video from Dover. It shows the Prime Minister's office coordinating with smugglers to time migrant arrivals for minimum media visibility." The chamber detonated. MP after MP erupted with shouts of "liar" and "prove it." But Farage only smiled. The Metropolitan Police will receive the footage within the hour. What happened next spread across Europe like wildfire. King Charles leaned over to aides in Windsor and murmured the now infamous words, "This is deeply concerning." Constitutional experts scrambled onto BBC, Sky and ITV within minutes. Vernon Bogdanor warned that if criminality were proven, the king would not just have the right to act, but the duty. No one had heard constitutional language like that in decades. Markets panicked first. The pound dropped 1.3% within minutes. Morgan Stanley issued a fire-red alert describing the UK as politically unstable. Goldman Sachs slapped British bonds onto negative watch. The Bank of England summoned an emergency dawn meeting. Footage of traders clutching their heads went viral across TikTok and Twitter. Even property markets convulsed. Billionaires fled London real estate like rats leaving a sinking empire. Then came the political body count. 17 Labour MPs walked out of the chamber. Several cabinet ministers refused to return to Downing Street. The Socialist Campaign Group entered emergency session. Leaked WhatsApp messages showed entire factions preparing to abandon Starmer. One message from a cabinet minister read, "Every man for himself. Save yourselves." Another, "Drafting resignation letter now." This is fatal. Outside Westminster, crowds surged. 25,000 protesters surrounded Parliament within an hour. Aerial footage from Sky News showed a sea of people stretching from Parliament Square to Lambeth Bridge. Chants echoed across the Thames. Liar! Liar! Farage was right. Britain first. Birmingham saw 8,000 people gather at Labour HQ. Manchester saw 12,000 flood the town square. Liverpool dock workers walked out in solidarity. Foreign media couldn't look away. CNN declared it the collapse of a government in real time. Fox News ran a headline reading, "British Maverick exposes Prime Minister." Al Jazeera simply called it Westminster's darkest hour. Inside, number 10, chaos consumed the air. Rachel Reeves hurled a mug at the wall. David Lammy repeatedly whispered, "It's over, it's over." Wes Streeting reportedly broke into tears, convinced his constituents would never forgive him. Staffers typed resignation letters as fast as their fingers could move. Starmer's inner circle turned cannibalistic, blame shifted, alliances disintegrated. Angela Rayner, calm and calculating, met with 12 MPs behind closed doors, discussing transition plans. 48 hours, Ed Miliband allegedly told allies. Maybe less. Starmer himself vanished. Aides claimed he was working. Insiders said he was curled in his chair, refusing food, ignoring calls, staring at the wall like a man watching his legacy dissolve grain by grain. Then the third shockwave hit. Documents leaked to Reform UK allegedly showed Starmer accepting strategic direction from foreign NGOs. Names like the Open Society Foundation and the European Migration Council floated through the newsroom corridors. If true, the implications weren't political, they were criminal. MI5 reportedly opened a security review. Former Attorney General Suella Braverman declared it the worst political scandal in British history. Farage, meanwhile, went on Sky News with the calm of a statesman. "I take no pleasure in exposing corruption," he said, "but the British people deserve truth." In 3 hours, Reform UK gained 50,000 new members. By midnight, that number crossed 127,000. Their website crashed under the surge. Polling shifted at light speed. Labour collapsed to 22%. Conservatives held 28%. Reform UK surged to 31%. One private poll placed Reform at 36%, within striking distance of a parliamentary majority. Bookmakers shifted instantly. For the first time in British history, Nigel Farage became the odds-on favourite to become Prime Minister. Parliament reconvenes tomorrow. A no-confidence motion already sits on the order paper. Labour rebels are being counted in real time. 38 confirmed. 52 considering. If 40 break ranks, the government falls. And if the government falls, the Crown may be forced to act. Constitutional scholars argue Charles could deny Starmer's request to dissolve Parliament, handing power to another Labour figure. Others whisper that the King could invoke ancient prerogatives and call an election himself. Powers unused for centuries. Powers reserved for moments of national danger. Tonight, Britain stands on a knife's edge. A government is dying. A party is fracturing. A nation is watching with disbelief. History is pivoting in real time. And at the centre sits Keir Starmer, a man once hailed as Labour's future, now trapped in the ruins of his own decisions. So the questions now linger like smoke over Westminster. Is this the end of Labour's dominance? Has Farage just become the most powerful man in Britain? Will tomorrow bring a vote, or the fall of a government? Can Starmer survive the unsurvivable? And what will Britain look like when the dust finally settles? If you want to see what happens next, if you want to follow the moment that could rewrite British politics forever, hit subscribe, because tomorrow's session might not just change Parliament, it might change the country itself.